What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So what are you doing for the next 22 days? Well, if you're watching this video, I'm imagining you're probably going to be doing some pull-ups. But I will tell you this, on day 22, you're going to be doing a hell of a lot more pull-ups than you are right now, both in a given single set unbroken and in a total workout. And we know how effective this exercise is for developing your upper body, so on the other side of the 22 days are a lot more gains too. You see, this follows in the footsteps of our ultra-successful 22-day push-up workout, where I made a pretty big promise. I said by the time you were done with those 22 days, you'd be able to do more than 1.5 times the number of push-ups in a single set than you were doing on day one. Well, it's time for the similar promise here, a big promise. Not only will you be able to do at least 1.5 times the number of pull-ups that you're doing in a single set right now, it might be even up as high as twice as many as that. So with that being said, guys, I have a step-by-step plan to make sure that you're not going to fail along the way. So if you're ready to work, let's start laying that out. Your workout is going to be broken down basically into blocks, 5 blocks of 4 training days. The first day in a block is a testing day. And I'm going to explain what you're going to do there in a second. It will be followed by 3 non-testing days. All right, so if you look at this and you repeat this 5 times, you come up with 20 days. On day 21 and day 22, I'm reserving those for our final tests. So what are you doing in your given block? What happens on day 1 in your test day? Well, the first thing you do is you do as many pull-ups as you can in good form to failure. Okay, all the way up to your chin gets over the top of the bar and all the way down dead hang. Okay, then you take a 2-minute rest. After that point, you come back and you start a clock for 5 minutes. You have 5 running minutes to do as many pull-ups as you can. Understand, you can get down off the bar, you can rest, pause, you can do whatever you have to do. Just count how many pull-ups you do in that 5-minute total. At the end of that testing day, add up the original set that you did to failure plus the total number of pull-ups that you did in that 5-minute period, and that is your test day total. Now keep in mind, you want to save those 2 totals because this is what we're working off of. You're going to see how many pull-ups you did in that single set. That's what we're going to improve in our final day of this program, and that capacity to do more pull-ups is going to come in really helpful again on that second to last day of the entire 22 days. All right, so now days 2, 3, and 4 are those non-testing days. And what you do here is 2 exercises. 1, an accessory exercise to help us to be able to do more pull-ups by the time we're done, and you actually do more pull-ups. But the way you do them is going to be different. Let's start with the first non-pull-up exercise. It's a chin-up on day 2. And your goal here is to do twice as many as the number you did to failure of the pull-ups on day 1, or on that first testing day. And the idea here is that you're not going to allow yourself to actually go to failure. So if I did, let's say, 10 pull-ups to failure on day 1, I'm just looking to accumulate here 20 chin-ups. And I stop short of failure. If I'm getting tired around 6 or 7, I stop, I shake my arms out, I get back up to the bar in 10 seconds, and I keep going until I've accumulated all 20 reps. That's it. Then we move on to the pull-ups. And with the pull-ups here, the idea is to take that number from the first day, if it was 10, and now do 40% more. So if it was 10, we're looking for 4 additional reps, 14 pull-ups here, but done not to failure, done in the same rest pause fashion, holding a couple back that you just did the chin-ups on. We proceed to the next non-testing day. In this case, now we're shifting the focus away from the chin-up, which is more of a bicep focus, to the forearms with our commando pull-up. And we know that the forearms and the brachialis are going to be contributing as well to your ability to do more pull-ups, so that's why we want to work them in. You do the same thing here, twice as many of the commando pull-ups as you did on day 1 of your test day for your pull-ups. So again, 10 was the number, we're looking for to do 20 here. And every time you come up to that bar, whether it be on the right side or the left side, that counts as a repetition. Once again, you don't take it all the way to failure, you save a little bit in the tank, you rest pause until all 20 are done. Now you go back and you do your pull-ups after a rest, and this time the goal is not to add 40% to the original total, but to add 50%. So again, starting with a 10 rep pull-up that you did, now you're going to have to add 5 more, so you're doing 15 today. We move on to the last non-testing day, and this time we start with something called the scat pull hang. Now look, if you're going to be hanging up on the bar longer because you're going to be doing more pull-ups, you got to get used to being up on the bar longer, and that's where this exercise falls in. All you have to do is set yourself up to the bar like this, and then consciously depress your shoulder blades. Pull your scapula down and back. Think about pulling your shoulders as far away from your ears as you possibly can, and simply just hang there for as long as you can. Again, building up your stamina and your endurance and your ability to hang from the bar. Now note the time that you are able to hang here, because I do want to see increases along the 22 days in this asset as well, because if you can increase your dead arm hang time, that's also going to have some other benefits to the rest of your workouts. But make sure that you're aiming for at least a 5-second increase every time you perform this. And we wrap up the second half of our final non-testing day with, once again, more pull-ups done in that same not-to-failure fashion, but this time the increase is not 40%, it's not 50%, it's 60% from the original day 1 test total, which means that in this case you'd be doing 16. So now that comprises your first block of training, days 1 through 4. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this is simply going to be repeated a total of 5 times. However, the important thing to note is that your test day sets the stage for everything else that follows. So on day 5, your new test day, you get a chance to set a new max for pull-ups in a single set. And all of those non-testing days that follow, the activities, the chin-ups, the commando pull-ups, all that is going to be based off of the new test day total that you just had, to ensure that we're continuing to progress over the course of the 22 days. As I said before, when you encounter that bar hang challenge, you want to see if you can at least increase the number of time that you can hang on that bar by 5 seconds at minimum. You continue to do this now all the way until you get to days 21 and 22. And that's where our final 2 challenges are. And on the first of which, we have our day 21 timed challenge. So remember in the beginning, you did your set to failure, you rested 2 minutes, you came back and you did as many pull-ups as you could in rest-pause fashion for a 5-minute period. You added those 2 numbers together, and I told you to remember that number and to write it down. Because now I want you to be able to take that total that consisted of the first set, a 2-minute rest, and then 5 minutes, and now be able to do the whole thing within 5 minutes. There's no 2-minute rest period. There's no first set with additional time. It's getting that entire total done now within 5 minutes. And on day 22, our final test in our 22-day pull-up workout, now you go back and you try to set new standards. This is where it all comes down to it. How many pull-ups can you do in a single set? And this is where I'm looking for at least a 1.5 time increase, if not twice as many, in that set. So again, if 10 was our number, you're looking for 15, if not 20. And guys, if you've been putting in the work here, I promise you, you're going to be surprised at what you're capable of doing. So there you have it, guys, a 22-day step-by-step plan that I guarantee is going to deliver what I'm promising here. It's going to get you doing a hell of a lot more pull-ups than you are right now if you're willing to put in that work. And that's the thing, guys, whenever you're willing to put the work in, the results of that hard work are soon to follow. If you're looking for a program where we break down everything else in a step-by-step way, including our meals as well, you can find that over at ATHLEAN-X.com. If you found this video helpful, make sure you leave your comments and thumbs up below. If you've tried the 22-day push-up workout, you've seen great results there already, make sure you share that here and inspire others who can't wait to try this version. And if you haven't already done so, guys, click subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video when we put one out. All right, guys, see you soon. Good luck.